إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون فما يكذبك بعد بالدين أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakallah sir. Assalamu alaikum. This is Jamila Bibi from final year MBBS. I'm also a community counselor in VFAHT. 28 July is the World Hepatitis Day. Viral hepatitis is a serious health issue in Pakistan. Pakistan has the second largest burden of hepatitis C. Globally, the nationwide prevalence of hepatitis C in Pakistan is 4.8. Each year brings about 150,000 new cases of hepatitis B and C. The majority of people face the infection in healthcare setting without being aware of it. Now I would like to call Professor Dr. Muhammad Umar Sidara-e-Imtiaz. He is the legend in gastroenterology and hepatology. He put together his services in the establishment and success of Advanced Liver Center, Holy Family Hospital. He has won several national and international awards for his uncommendable services, especially in the field of hepatology. He is also a renowned researcher and has many publications in several national and international journals. Please welcome Professor Dr. Muhammad Umar.
Honorables, members and faculty from Executive Office, other faculty members of Rawalpindi Medical University, the member of EHFT, member of Shifa Medicine, the members of faculty from gastroenterology and nephrology, Rawalpindi Medical University, the members from our family physicians organization, the Family Physician Academy, student organizations, other NGOs, nurses, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed an honor and pleasure to be the part of this noble mission of eradication of hepatitis C from Pakistan. I think we are unlucky in many other fields of science. Same is with the diseases. I really feel I will not avoid this word, the shame, being the senior most member of medical faculty and healthcare providers, that we just stand behind Afghanistan. Afghanistan, out of I think now 200 countries, is the only country which has hepatitis B and C more prevalent than Pakistan. Otherwise, if you know Afghanistan of 30-year war, we stand one in hepatitis C. The number of patients we see and the number of deaths we get. We don't mind that, this philosophy, कि किसी भी disease भी ज्यादा हो सकती है, जैसे आप कोट कर सकते हैं कि कोविड कौन सा प्लस वर्ड में काम हो गया, कोविड को कौन सा प्लस वर्ड में काम कर दिए, लेकिन याद रखिए कि if the disease is 100% preventable, और वही 100% preventable disease जो है हमारे मुल्क में कॉमन हो, तो then being healthcare workers, I think we have no excuse. कोविड तो जो है वो तो अभी तक प्रिवेंटेबल नहीं हुआ, प्रिवेंटेबल है तो ट्रीटेबल नहीं हुआ. This is not the case with the hepatitis C. अगर कोविड ने जो है सारी दुनिया को पैरालाइज कर दिया है, तो ये इसको कंपेयर नहीं किया जा सकता हेपेटाइटिस सी से, क्योंकि बाकी सारी दुनिया ने हेपेटाइटिस सी को कंट्रोल कर लिया है. अगर रेडिकेट नहीं किया तो कंट्रोल कर दिया है, हम दुनिया में नंबर 1 थे. So unfortunate that in 2021 we are everything with medicine इतना डेवलप कर दिया है, we still have this medicine. कल भी मैं सेमिनार में था, तो प्रोफेसर ने जो राबेजियन कम्युनिटी अवेयरनेस बनाया हुआ डॉक्टर मानमा ने वंडरफुल वर्क किया, untiring effort इनकी. और I was working for at least 35 years in every hepatitis के लिए काम कर रहा हूँ, in my own humble way, जे के लिए काम कर रहा हूँ. लेकिन unfortunately हेल्थ केयर वर्कर्स जो हैं, हम लोगों का बहुत बड़ा रोल है स्प्रेड में हेपेटाइटिस. सॉरी डॉक्टर, आई विश यू. सो जो है हमारा बहुत बड़ा रोल. अगर आप इस वक्त दुनिया में हमारे पाकिस्तान में देखें तो व्हाट इज द कॉमनेस्ट कॉज ऑफ ट्रांसमिशन ऑफ हेपेटाइटिस बी एंड सी? स्टिल द थेरेपेटिक इंजेक्शंस. मैं कल कोई डाटा देख रहा था फॉरम के 80% जो अभी भी हेपेटाइटिस सी की ट्रांसमिशन है वो थेरेपेटिक इंजेक्शंस. इम्यूनाइजेशन के इंजेक्शन यूज होती है, उनसे सिर्फ 10%. Who use these injections? ये ठीक है, हमारे पास ये एक्सक्यूज आ जाएगा कि इस मुल्क में 40,000 रुपए के वो कर रहे हैं, लेकिन दिस इज नॉट 100% true. We are equally responsible. Somewhere we have a loose sense of not sterilizing our people. अगर मीन डिस्पोजेबल सिरिंज है वो ही यूज नहीं हो रही, लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं आपका मेडिकल इक्विपमेंट, आपके जो सर्जरी के इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स हैं, जो डिलीवरी के लिए गाइनिंग इंस्ट्रूमेंट यूज होते हैं, डेंटिस्ट हमारे बॉडी जो इक्विपमेंट यूज करते हैं, ये जो माइनर प्रोसीजर के लिए यूज होते हैं, जो स्कोप्स हैं वो क्योंकि मिनी सर्जरी का रोल आ गया, लेप्रोस्कोप इतनी यूज हो रही है, एंडोस्कोप के इंटरवेंशन बहुत हम करते हैं. तो समवेयर वी आर आल्सो रिस्पांसिबल. चलिए हम हेपेटाइटिस को रेडिकेट तो नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन जो हिस्सा हम एज ए हेल्थ केयर वर्कर, डॉक्टर, स्पेशलिस्ट, नर्सेज इसके टूल में, इसको इंक्रीज करने में डाल रहे हैं, उसको तो कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं. लेट्स मेक ए कमिटमेंट टुडे कि अपने स्फीयर के अंदर लोगों को अवेयरनेस करना तो जरूरी है, लेकिन जो टूल को हम इंक्रीज कर रहे हैं एज ए हेल्थ केयर वर्कर, उसको तो हम प्रिकॉशन दें. अभी मैं चाहता हूँ, मेरे पास टाइम नहीं होता कि मैं एंडोस्कोप किस तरह स्टरलाइज हो, डिसइंफेक्ट हो, उसको देखूँ, रश होता है. बट द पीपल वर्किंग देयर हु आर देयर फॉर 24 आवर्स, नर्सेज हैं, जो जूनियर स्टाफ है, ये उनकी जिम्मेदारी बनती है कि हर स्कोप को देखें कि प्रॉपर स्टरलाइज हो रही है, प्रॉपर डिसइंफेक्ट हो रही है. इसी तरह जो ऑपरेशन थिएटर का स्टाफ है, जो गायनी आपका स्टाफ है, जो डेंटिस्ट है, आपका वेस्ट जो है प्रॉपर्ली डिस्पोज हो रहा है. इसके लिए हमें कोई अवेयरनेस की कंप्लेंट की जरूरत नहीं. हमारे पास एमबीबीएस की डिग्री है, हमारे पास फेलोशिप की डिग्री है. तो आज पहला वो अपना डिसाइड हम करें कि क्या ये मैं अगर एंडोस्कोप करता हूँ तो मैंने इंश्योर किया है कि मेरा हॉस्पिटल में या प्राइवेट जो सेटअप है उसमें किसी सूरत की एक केस की ना हो, बिकॉज आई एम आंसरेबल फॉर दैट ट्रांसमिशन टू हियर एंड द वर्ल्ड आफ्टर, द वर्ल्ड हियर आफ्टर. बाद में मुझे जिम्मेदार होगा ना कि ये बीमारी मैंने लगाई थी. सो दैट्स वर्क. हम जब भी मैं सेमिनार सुनता हूँ कि लोगों को अवेयर करें, लोगों को अवेयर करें. और अगर आप देखें तो थेरेपेटिक इंजेक्शन हम सबसे ज़्यादा करते हैं, प्रोसीजर हम ज़्यादा करते हैं, सर्जरी हम कर रहे हैं, की होल सर्जरी آپ کا ڈینٹسٹ سامنے ہے، نرسز سامنے، پیرامیڈک سامنے، تو دونوں کا قصور کہاں سے آ گیا پہلے؟ لیکن لوگ جا کے ٹیکا لگواتے ہیں انسٹرلائز، ان کو سمجھائیں، اس کو سمجھائیں نا جو انسٹرلائز ٹیکا لگا رہے ہیں، وہ اگر کوئی کہتے ہیں قانون عمل کریں، لوگوں کا تو قصور نہیں ہے نا کہ وہ ایک ہیلتھ فیسلٹی پہ جاتے ہیں وہاں سے ایتھلیٹس لے کے واپس آتے ہیں، تو ہم سارا ملبات پہ ڈالتے ہیں کہ لوگوں کو اویئرنیس نہیں، وہ جا کے نہیں کہتے کہ ہمیں صحیح ٹیکا لگانا، بھائی اس کو تو پکڑے نا جس نے ٹیکا غلط لگایا، جس کے اسٹرلائز اکوپمنٹ نہیں ہو، ٹھیک ہے، اس کو کون نہیں پکڑنا، اس کو تو ساتھ والی عوام نے نہیں پکڑنا، اس کو تو تعلیم نہیں کرتے، ہیلتھ کیئر کمیشن میں پکڑنا، ہم نہیں پکڑنا، ہم نے اپنے اپنے گریس کی جو ہے اس طرح کرنا ہے، سائٹ کے میں نے دیکھا امریکہ میں کہ وہ چیک کرتے ہیں جا کے لوگوں کے دیکھتے ہیں ان کے سٹرلائزیشن کا سسٹم ٹھیک ہے، ڈس انفیکشن کا سسٹم ٹھیک ہے، یہ ویسٹ صحیح ڈسپوز کر رہے ہیں کیا، میں کبھی مجھے موقع ملتا ہے میں نہیں والوں کو پوچھتا ہوں، پھر پوچھتا ہوں کہ کہاں آپ بھیجتے ہیں، کیا ہم سارے جو اس طرح کے ڈسپوزل فوڈ کو بھی کبھی بھیجتے ہیں انسنریشن کے لیے، تو آپ کو رانی ہوگی کہ آپ کا ویسٹ کہاں جا رہا ہے، تو وہ آدھا کلا کو اس کو 10 ہونے دے، اس کو 5-6 کلو اکٹھا ہونے دے، اور پھر اپنے بندے کو ہمارے یونیورس کے ساتھ ایم او یو سائن کرنے کے لیے یہ آیا کرے گا ہمارا چلے، وہ پیسے بھی مانگتے ہیں تو کوئی فرق نہیں پڑتا، آپ کو اگر مہینے کا 1000 روپیہ دینا پڑتا ہے تو ڈزنٹ میٹر، آپ کا سسٹم تو ہوگا نا جہاں آپ کا اس طرح کا انفیکٹڈ جو ویسٹ ہے وہ کسی جگہ انسنریشن میں جاتا ہے، یہ پبلک ایشوز کا ہے، یہ تو ہماری کمیونٹی کے ایشوز، اس میں کوئی زیادہ پرابلم سے نہیں، آپ میرا پوائنٹ سمجھ رہے ہیں، ہم لوگ کہتے ہیں غلط ٹیکا نہ لگوائیں، غلط جب وہی جو علاج کر رہا ہے غلط اس کو بھی تو کوئی ذمہ داری ہے نا، اس کی اپنی باقی ذمہ داری کی اور قانون کی ذمہ داری، تو میرا تو ایک یہ ریکویسٹ ہوگی آپ پر 35 ایئرس کہ جو کو ایلیگیٹ کرنے کے بجائے ہماری سیلف اویئرنیس انفیکشن کنٹرول پروسیجر جو ہے یونیورسل موسٹ آف دس از مائی پرسپشن۔ سیکنڈلی اب اس بات ہے کہ آپ ایشو صرف کیور کرنی ہے ریڈیکیشن کے، اس پہ گورنمنٹ کا بہت بڑا رول ہے، پولیٹیکل لیڈرشپ کی جو پالیسیز ہے جو ڈی ہے انہیں آپ کو صرف فنڈ ایلوکیٹ کرنے چاہیے، آگے ہمیں پتہ ہے کہ اس کے لیے پلاننگ اور اسٹریٹجی کیا کرنی ہے، کیسے ریڈیکیٹ کرنا ہے، کہ میس اسکریننگ کا سسٹم میں ایوالو کرنا پڑے گا، میس ٹریٹمنٹ کا کرنا پڑے گا، ری انفیکشن کو پرووائڈ کرنا پڑے گا، اس کا بھی ماڈل کرنا ہے کسی میٹنگ میں، جس میں اس میں بھی آپ کو پتہ ہے کہ ایجپشین ماڈل ہمارے پاس ہے، گورنمنٹ نے بھی اس کی اسٹریٹجی بنائی ہوئی ہے، تو ہم ہیلتھ کیئر ورکر اپنا پریشر یوز کر سکتے ہیں، مورل پریشر یوز کر سکتے ہیں کہ گورنمنٹ اس کے لیے فنڈ اور ایلوکیٹ کرے تاکہ جو انفیکٹڈ پول ہے اس کو ہم ٹریٹ کریں، اگلی جیسے 2030 کی ٹرینڈ آئی ہے WHO کی، تاکہ یہ پول ختم ہوگا تو پولیٹک ٹرانسمیشن ہوتے ہیں، تو یہ دوسرا میرا کام ہے۔ I will stop here because there are many more competent speakers جو میرے بات کریں گے، جو شاید بہتر طریقے سے سمجھا سکیں گے، اگر ہماری دو جو میرے پوائنٹس ہیں، پہلا یہ ہے کہ ہمارا جو رول ہے ہیلتھ کیئر ورکرس وہ ہمیں ضرور پلے کرنا چاہیے، اس کے لیے پیسے کی ضرورت نہیں، اس کے لیے کسی اسٹریٹجی کی ضرورت نہیں، اس کے لیے کسی اویئرنیس کی ضرورت نہیں، کسی روڈ میپ کی ضرورت نہیں، بیکاز ہم تو خود ہیلتھ کیئر پرووائڈر ہیں، اور obviously we should request to the government to allocate more budget so we can properly جو ہمارا literacy education program ہے وہ چل سکے، اور we work as a team with our family physicians کیونکہ مین ورک ان کے پاس آتا ہے، یونیورسٹی از here to cooperate۔ کبھی میں نے اپنے تجربہ میں نہیں کہ میرے پاس کوئی آیا ہو یا اس نے مجھے کوئی مشورہ دیا ہو جس سے ہماری فیملی ہیلتھ کیئر امپروو ہو سکتی ہے، ہاسپٹلس کی بہتری آ سکتی ہے، انفیکشن ڈیزیز اور کی ٹرانسمیشن ہو سکتی ہے، راولپنڈی میڈیکل یونیورسٹی، آل دیز آرگنائزیشن اور آل دیز گروپس، بلکہ یونیورسٹی کا یہ رول ہے کہ پیچھے کھڑے نہ لیڈ کرے، تو وی آر ہیئر ٹو لیڈ، وٹ ایور سپورٹ آئی کین ایکسٹینڈ as the Vice Chancellor Office, we will definitely stand by. Once again, I am grateful to the District Health Administration, Dr. Santo, किस तरह ये सारी चीजें कोप करते हैं, and obviously हमारे जो डॉक्टर मंजूर हैं, academy है, हमारी प्राइवेट जो हर वक्त मुझे इससे एक खुशी है कि ये वो ग्रुप है जिसको मैं देखता हूँ कि जो अपना टाइम स्पेयर करता है, टाइम इज मनी, कहते अगर आप पैसे नहीं कमाने का अपनी फैमिली को देते हैं, तीसरी कोई ऑप्शन नहीं होती, जो लोग तीसरी जगह टाइम निकालते हैं बेसिकली they are basically the key of the development of the society. So I saw always that in this period of time, so this is a key जिससे मुझे strength और hope मिलती है। I'm also grateful to the Ravinia Awareness Society जो इस पे काम कर रही है, particularly Dr. Asif, Dr. Naima, and I'm very grateful and very excited कि हमारे student जो है VHF वाले वो भी इस पे बहुत काम कर रहे हैं। लेकिन उससे पहले ये भी एक है कि हमें ये सारा काम होते हैं, they never hold a single meeting with me कि सर हमने ये स्ट्रैटेजी बनाई हुई है और हमारा 365 डेज का रोड मैप है। तो मेरी ये भी रिक्वेस्ट होगी इनके प्रेसिडेंट से कि वो मेरे से मीटिंग करें और हम अपना जो अगले 6 महीने का रोड मैप है दिसंबर का आपका वो करें, हम क्या एक्टिविटी करते हैं। और मैं देखिए आपको भी रिक्वेस्ट करूँगा कि उनको लिंक को डेवलप करें ताकि काम ऑर्गेनाइज तरीके से। I thank you once again for joining, and I'm also grateful for the participation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your precious word. Now I would like to call Dr. Tayyib Saeed, who is a medical specialist and Patron-in-Chief of Volunteer Force Against Hepatitis Transmission, to discuss the importance of prevention is better than cure. Please welcome Dr. Tayyib Saeed.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, all the respected guests for honoring this occasion, and after the very wise words by our worthy Vice Chancellor, I would definitely carry his words of wisdom, and on those words of wisdom I would further take up my talk. It's always said that prevention is better than cure, and the same is true regarding the hepatitis as well. So let us see about hepatitis B and C in a global perspective. Worldwide about roughly 400 million people are living with hepatitis B or C. And every year about 1.4 million people die from viral hepatitis. And yet all of these deaths could be prevented. So roughly 4,000 deaths a day. And 1.4 million people die each year of hepatitis. So it's the seventh biggest killer globally. And yet less than 1% of people living with viral hepatitis receive treatment. So this is quite a shameful thing for us. Let us see hepatitis C in global perspective, and then we will see where we are standing. Globally, the estimation of prevalence of anti-HCV is about 1.6%, and the prevalence of viremia is about 1.1%. And as Professor Umar was rightly saying that this is one field where unfortunately our name is rising at a very fast pace, and the data is suggesting that we are on number 2, and maybe if we collect the latest data, as Sir was saying, that we may be on number 1. So our adult anti-HCV prevalence is about 6.7%. Even in hepatitis B, the situation is quite alarming, and we have got a prevalence of about 3%, which is about 6 million population all over Pakistan. But the real problem is that this is not the true picture, because there are several missing millions. That's why screening is very important. If we say about 400 roughly million people are affected, so or 325 million to be very exact, and amongst them, more than 290 million people are living with hepatitis and they are unaware. That is 9 in 10 men, women and children who are going on about their lives not knowing they have a cancer-causing virus. So screening is very important. So our students who are about to have a camp tomorrow, so this is what they are going to do, that they are going to screen this society over here. For hepatitis B, it's the surface antigen that we're going to and anti-HCV is the test which we do for the hepatitis C to screen the cases. There are some important facts that I would like to highlight over here. The mode of transmission for hepatitis B and C is mainly sexual route or from mother to child, sharing needles from recipients of blood products, needle stick injury. These are the main modes of transmission. Specifically, if I talk about the hepatitis B, the major risks of transmissions are the blood, the semen, the vaginal secretions, and the body fluids containing visible blood. This is one important point that I would like to highlight over here is the vertical transmission versus the horizontal transmission as far as hepatitis B is concerned. Because if you look at the chronicity of hepatitis B, it is far higher with the vertical transmission, that is the transmission from the mother to the child. 90% in infants infected at birth or during the first year of life, they go into the chronic disease. 30 to 50% in children aged 1 to 6 years and 5 to 10% in children above 6 years of age. So this highlights the importance of diagnosing and treating the disease in pregnant ladies. So diagnosing and treating hepatitis B in pregnancy is itself a very important factor. So this is actually again a data of different risk of transmissions by according to exposure type. Bottom line point is that the vertical transmission, the risk of transmission is far higher than the horizontal type. As far as hepatitis C is concerned, the contact with blood of an infected person primarily through sharing of contaminated needles, syringes, or other injection during equipment that is higher and less commonly through sexual contact with an infected person, birth to an infected mother, and the needle stick or other sharp instrument injuries. This is what the VC was saying, that unsafe injections, one of the major risks of transmission. 2 million people a year contract hepatitis from unsafe injections. Hepatitis C transmission risk by exposure type again, needle stick, there are chances from 0 to 10%, average about 1.8%. So this is also another exposure. Some other causes are tattooing, body piercing, acupuncture, by shaving razors, toothbrushes, some spoons, straws, or pipes. These are some very rare causes. There are a few case reports on human bites and butchers as well, but they are not very well-established causes, but there are some case reports on that. Important thing is, hepatitis is preventable. Every child can be protected, and it's very cheaper than the cure. So, this is the flow sheet for, as I was saying, especially for hepatitis B, that has got a very high rate of chronicity for the vertical transmission. So every mother must be screened for hepatitis B at least because of high risk of vertical transmission and going into a chronic stage. And if it comes out to be positive and with a very high viral load, you need to treat the mother not only because the mother needs treatment, but sometimes we treat the mother just to stop or to decrease or to lower down the chances of vertical transmission. So whenever the load is more than 200,000 international units in the pregnant ladies and hepatitis B surface antigen is positive, even without cirrhosis, we treat those mothers with tenofovir as a prophylaxis, just to prevent the transmission to the fetus. And after the birth of the baby is given the vaccination as well as immunoglobulins for infants born to hepatitis B surface antigen positive mothers, especially if hepatitis B E antigen is positive or with a very high hepatitis B virus DNA loads. Vaccination schedule is like quite simple for the newborns. The first shot is given at birth, and the second shot at first month, and third shot 6 months. For the adults, if they are not previously vaccinated, just check whether they are affected or not, and then you can vaccinate it there and then with the same schedule of 1 0, 1, and 6 month scheduling. Needle stick injuries, they can be prevented as well. Safe handling and disposal of the sharps is very important for the pre-exposure prophylaxis. Sharp bits must be available in all clinics and other relative areas. Personal protective equipment are important. Always demand a new syringe, well-sterilized equipment. This is very important. The resheathing of contaminated needles should not be undertaken under any circumstances. Up to 1/3 of needle stick injuries occur while attempting resheathing. Please do not or never resheath. What should you do? Staff using sharp must always take a sharp container to the patient or point of use, not the sharps to the container, and then properly, as the guidelines say, they should dispose them off. This is the point that Professor Umar was also highlighting. Unnecessary injection increases the risk. So 8 billion injections a year are given unnecessarily. A lot of my colleagues are over here who are doing family medicine, and they must second me that patients come to you and must be saying that Doctor Sahab, tika laga de, and this is one important demand at the clinic sometimes. So this is what we have to educate them, that avoid injections wherever possible. You cannot catch hepatitis B or C from taking pills. So injections are not always the best treatment. Needle stick injury post-exposure measures, just wash it properly and thoroughly. What if you ever get a needle stick injury from a hepatitis B surface antigen positive patient? This sometimes happens with my younger colleagues. They are working, they are students right now, they may be soon working in hospital environment, and they sometimes can get a prick. What should they do? If you're vaccinated, that's the best thing, you should be vaccinated. Then check your antibody levels. If your antibody titers are more than 10 international units, you are safe. But if you are not, then better get immunoglobulin dose within 24 hours and repeat over 1 month. But if you are not vaccinated or you are not sure about it, check your surface antigen and antibody levels. If both are negative, get immunoglobulins and vaccination. And if any one of those is positive, then you can do nothing. It either means that you are either already infected or you are already vaccinated. What if you get needle prick from a Hep C positive patient? Here we don't have a vaccination yet, so you have to check, wait and see and check. Because the good thing is that with Hep C, the needle stick chances of transmission is quite low. So you have to check with a simple screening test at 4 to 6 months or with a PCR at 4 to 6 weeks. If positive, then you have to get it pretty good. Sharp injuries you can avoid, especially while going to the barber, better to use a one kit. Avoid other sharp injuries like avoid tapping and unnecessary things like these. Blood, better get a proper screening before that. This is another dilemma. 10 million people who inject drugs worldwide have hepatitis B and C. So this is a stigmata. So please, better help them out. Don't avoid them. This is the last important point, that hepatitis does not discriminate, so neither should we. So we should help them out. By the end, I would like to emphasize only one point, that in 2015, the world gathered with the motto that they want to eliminate hepatitis from the face of this world by 2030. As we are conducting this seminar today, even in one day, 4,000 people are going to die just because of hepatitis. So we have to act now to save lives. My only worry is that if we just look at the case of the polio, like in 1988, if you look at the world map, the polio was all over the world. And the countries, they gathered and they want to eradicate polio from the face of the world. And in 2020, they have done it. And you can see that there are only 2 countries over there who are still fighting with the polio. One is Pakistan, the other one is Afghanistan. And this is quite unfortunate. My only fear is that now the world has decided to eliminate hepatitis by 2030. God forbid, in 2030, we should not be a similar map for hepatitis as well. So we have to act together in a coordinated fashion, and if we will not do it, then hepatitis can't wait. So thank you very much for patient listening, and I think so upcoming speakers are going to highlight further that how we can do these steps, how we can coordinate in a much better way to eliminate hepatitis. Thank you very much.
इसमें बात आना
for educating us in an amazing way. Now I would like to invite Dr. Manzoor Ahmed from Pakistan Academy of Family Physicians to please have some words with us. Please come on.
Assalamu alaikum. I am humbled and honored that I have been invited to say something about hepatitis and the role of primary care physicians before this August gathering. I am also thankful to DHO Dr. Khan, Clinical Medicine, and all the faculty of the Medical University. The role of primary care physician is basically we are dealing with almost 85% of population. Patients first of all come to their primary care physician. It is our responsibility that we should take good care of the patient, and our service should be very good, and our way of giving health facility should be good, and our instrument, if we are doing some procedure, should be properly supplied, so that we should not spread hepatitis C or B. And apart from that, our seniors, we should make sure that our seniors should not be reused and properly cut with the dinner cutter and should be properly disposed of. तो इसमें ये है कि प्राइमरी केयर फिजिशियन जो है वो बेसिकली किसी भी हेल्थ सिस्टम का बैकबोन होती है कि जो कि हेल्थ सिस्टम को चलती है. अगर हमसे अगर कोई ऐसा केस होता है जो कि कॉम्प्लिकेटेड केस है या जो उनको हैंडल नहीं कर सकते, हम उसको प्रॉपर टाइम पे कंसल्टेंट के पास रेफर कर देते हैं. लेकिन हमारा जो बेसिक रोल ये है कि हमें चाहिए कि हम वो मरीज इख्तियार करें जिसकी वजह से जो है हमारी वजह से नमक जो है हेपेटाइटिस सी और बी सी जो है वो स्प्रेड ना करे. तो हम इन्हें एक टीम की तशकील दे रहे हैं अंदर जो कि डॉक्टर्स के जीपीस के साइंटिस्ट के क्लिनिक विजिट करेगी और हम चेक करेंगे कि जो वो प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं उसमें वो जो तमाम जो प्रिकॉशंस हैं वो ले रहे हैं कि नहीं ले रहे. तो ये इस तरीके से भी हम जो है ना वो कहते हैं प्रिवेंशन इज बेटर देन क्योर. तो हम जब इसको प्रिवेंट करेंगे, प्रॉपर मेजर्स लेंगे, तो जो स्प्रेड है हेपेटाइटिस सी और बी का, हेपेटाइटिस का, वो कम हो जाएगा और ग्रेजुअली इंशाल्लाह वी विल कम इन द गुड बुक्स. एंड हमारा जो नंबर है नंबर 2 पे हम हैं, इट इज नंबर 6 का क्षेम हमारे लिए. हम कोशिश करेंगे कि हम इम्प्रूव करें ताकि हमारा जो नंबर है इतना बुरा ना हो और हम अच्छी जो एडवांस कंट्रीज हैं जहाँ पे हेल्थ केयर ज़्यादा है उनमें शामिल हो जाए। तो इस तरह एक गुजारिश थी जो रियाज कर दी हम इंशाल्लाह इसके ऊपर बकायदा काम करेंगे और बाकी डॉक्टर को भी हम एडवाइस देंगे कि वो भी काशल लें और प्रॉपर जो है ना जो चीज़ें हैं उनको इख्तियार करें ताकि हमारी वजह से कम अज़ कम जो है कि हेपेटाइटिस जो है वो पैदा करे। थैंक यू।
Thank you so much, Dr. Manzoor Ahmed. तुम दिए वादे मुखालिफ से ना घबरा ए उकाब, तुम दिए वादे मुखालिफ से ना घबरा ए उकाब, ये तो चलती है तुझे ऊंचा उड़ाने के लिए। Now I would like to invite our next worthy speaker, Dr. Humana Sundar from Pharmacological Department. Ma'am, please come on.
Assalamualaikum, dignitaries from District Health Authority and honorable guests, most respected faculty members, I, Dr. Maima Asif, President of RCAP, the Building Community Wellness Program, welcome you all in today's seminar. First of all, I would like you all to congratulate teams of VFAHT and RCAP in conduction of today's seminar. I would request you all to please give them a huge round of applause for their appreciation of our students who work untiringly for conduction of today's seminar. Students are, as being the youth, are main pillars of our nation. They can play an important role in strengthening and improving the society. Studying is the main occupation of the students, but being youthful and energetic, they can engage themselves in various forms of social work in their spare time and in moments of crisis. Mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be ignited. RCAP is the matchstick which helped ignite the minds of many students. Now our dedicated students, our dedicated team of RCAP is working untiringly for the betterment of health of our society. Our roadmap to success is working by preventing diseases, promoting health, and prolonging life through health promotion, education, research, and innovation. Alhamdulillah, our students are building the gap by integrating between primary, secondary, and tertiary healthcare services through their awareness campaigns and strategies. I wish all the best to all my dear students and looking forward for their more positive and active role in the society. Thank you so much.
Students are an important part of the healthy team, and their sufficient knowledge, awareness, and motivation play an important role in the community. So yes, we will call Dr. Ihsan Karim on stage to say a few words.
Thank you very much, dear colleagues. It's an honor and a privilege for me to address this August gathering. And for the first time in my career, this is a seminar there is a bridging gap between primary, secondary, and our specialized healthcare. So very briefly, I will just brief the hepatitis control program, its functioning in the district, as well as the overview of the Punjab situation in my presentation. So, I'm Dr. Azan, working as a district health officer preventive services and in primary secondary setup. My working is generally concerned with epidemic control and prevention. It caters for all infectious diseases and non-infectious diseases also. So definitely hepatitis is a disease of concern for us also. And we are also striving hard to just to establish and to strengthen our hepatitis clinics that are mostly established in the Tehsil headquarter hospitals. And currently we have got 6 Tehsil headquarter hospitals that are functional as hepatitis clinics. So I will just briefly, in my presentation, show you where we are. This is a global burden of disease. As respected colleagues, my former speakers, Dr. Tayyab, has already explained the burden of disease of hepatitis B and C in the world and where we stand. Definitely, it's very alarming that Pakistan is still among the countries where hepatitis C is most prevalent. So this is just a view of the world map and the prevalence and disease burden of hepatitis B and C in the world. So just an overview of the country. Hepatitis B, according to the 2008 survey, it is 2.5% and the prevalence of hepatitis C in the country is 5%. Similarly, the Punjab province, the hepatitis B surveillance, the prevalence is 2.4% and C is 6.7 to 8.9%. That is the current statistics. So this is a trail of hepatitis response, how we started and how and where we are going. So this is an overview of National Hepatitis Prevention Control Program that started in 2005. Then in 2006, it is after the 18th Amendment and devolution, it has been handed over to the provincial subject, and now it is a provincial subject and it is being run at the provincial level. Next. Now, important strategies to combat this menace. Number one, the hepatitis control program is revised in 2019. This is the guidelines that is being revised by the technical advisory group, both at the provincial level as well as the national level. And in consultation with this technical advisory group, there is a guideline being formulated and it is being implemented at the provincial level as well as at the district level. So this is an overview. The number one important strategy is macro elimination. The macro elimination is that whenever a person is coming to a health facility, and whether it is a clinic at the tertiary hospital or a secondary hospital, care is given and it is free at the moment and at that time. Then there is micro elimination. Micro elimination is a process in which door-to-door survey is being carried out in the community where there is a suspicion of high prevalence of hepatitis. Then special initiative is also being carried out in Punjab, finding the missing million through hepatitis-free campuses at Punjab. So this is an initiative especially being focused in Punjab, in which universities is being targeted and their screening is carried out, and these universities is being declared as hepatitis-free zones. So this is also one of the strategies to combat this menace. Then hepatitis C by 2030. Actually, we are the signatory of international health regulation. Wherever there is a policy at the international level, we have to abide these rules and policies. For that, we have to, the major component of this is multi-pronged and multi-sectoral approach. Number one is expansion of macro elimination clinics, micro-elimination in high prevalent districts. For example, the data reveals that which districts in Punjab the disease is most prevalent. So accordingly, the plan is made and implemented. Special initiatives like hepatitis-free universities and madrasas, public-private mix. This is very important because as a part of this, we cannot go alone. We will integrate different stakeholders and to accomplish our common goal. For example, we have got a family physician with us. They play a very important role in disease prevention and elimination and eradication. So we have to engage different stakeholders to achieve common objectives. Now I will specifically give a brief on the hepatitis control program in development. Next. So overall, if we just look to the population, we have got 5.9 million population of our country, and there is 9 administrative units in our district. That is 7 tehsils and 2 towns. The majority of the population is residing in the urban areas, that is the rubber town, cantonment and Potawar areas. And together, the population constitute round about 24 lakh population. So we have to gather this urban population first because the prevalence of disease is more in these areas. And unfortunately, we don't have secondary setup in these areas. We have to rely on the specialized healthcare system in this area to carry out these preventive activities for hepatitis control and prevention. And we have got 2 hepatitis clinics. One is in Holy Family Hospital, and the second one is in Benazir Hospital. So overall, in tehsil setup, we have 6 tehsil headquarter hospitals that are in tehsil Gujarat, Kahuta, Kalasida, Koti Sania, Mari, and Texel. These are 6 tehsil headquarter hospitals that have got hepatitis clinic, and these are sentinel sites that is being used for staging of hepatitis B and C, then diagnosis on early detection, and then PCR being also offered to the patients who are positive on the rapid test, and then vaccination, and further is the treatment. Treatment is also given at these sites. So this is the nomenclature that we have got. So important 4-pronged strategy for control of hepatitis. Number 1 is educate. Educate is communication and awareness strategy. Number 1 is advocacy, communication, and social mobilization. If we just look into the primary goals of primary secondary health care is health promotion, number 1. Number 2 is prevention. Number 3 is curative. And number 4 is rehabilitation. So number 1 and 2 are the important goals. Until and unless we aware our community, we mobilize our community on important issues, we are unable to achieve the required results. For this purpose, we are not only screening the patients at the tertiary and the secondary health facilities, but we are also running an awareness program. How to aware them? How this disease spreads? What we do when one is infected? What is the treatment? Where to get treatment? So this type of things is being communicated to them, and it is being trickled down at the basic health unit also. Because we have got 100 basic health units in the district, and most of them are in the periphery region. So we are utilizing this for awareness and also social mobilization and community mobilization. Number 2 is prevent. Hepatitis Act and rule of vaccination. This is very important because Hepatitis Act has 6 components that is being implemented in the district at the secondary level. And similarly, vaccination is also being carried out of newborn as well as hepatitis B vaccination of adult is being carried out at the SNN sites. Then there is a test, screening, PCR, baseline, and then last is the treatment. The treatment is the assessment and follow-up, and also the SPR12 and treatment follow-up and so on. So these are the 4 important strategies that we are doing. This you can visualize how integration is going on. At the district level, we have tertiary setup, Holy Family Hospital, Benazir Hospital, and at the secondary level, we have got 6 THUs that is being declared as sentinel sites, and these are doing surveillance, also the disease surveillance, and also giving treatment in these areas. So this is the setup that we are working on. Next, this is the flow chart. This is also being described by Dr. Tayyar in his presentation. So this is very simple. Whenever a person can come to our sentinel site, initially it is he has to go to the electronic medical registration. There it is, he is registered. After that, screening is going on. Screening is he is screened for hepatitis B and C. This is a rapid test. If somebody is positive on this rapid test, then he is further evaluated for PCR, and PCR means sent to our lab in Lahore that is free of cost. And if he is positive on this PCR, he is further recommended treatment and follow-up is being carried out. So this is the flow chart how we are just treating a patient who is in the center. Thank you. Next. This is a snapshot of our filter clinic that is located in designated portion of Gujarat. Here you can see we have got this EMR on the right, that is the dashboard where the patient is being registered. Then there is the screening counter, and then there is the registration counter. So this is how a patient is being treated or a suspect is being screened whenever he visits a central site or filter clinic at the secondary health facility. Next. So hepatitis A 2018. This I will just go through briefly. What is this? Number one is the robust surveillance. Case finding, screening, diagnosis, treatment, and counseling. In both public and private sector, micro-elimination projects. Micro-elimination project is very important because it is going on in some of the districts, like Nankana Sahib, we have identified 2 UCs. We have screened these all UCs. We have the positive patients is being given medicine, and it is completely screened in this area. Similarly, if we just go on in Rawalpindi, we can select 2 UCs in the vulnerable areas, and we can go and we can conduct screening in these areas, and we can declare free zone in this area. This can be done. Then AD centers. This is very important because initially Professor Dr. Umar also in his speech has told us that these AD centers they also have an important role because if it is reused, it can be a source of infection. So government has a policy, and these AD centers have been procured, 36 million AD centers procured and distributed. So this is very important strategy to control this hepatitis. Then barber and beautician registration. This is also important. We are doing this registration of barbers and beauty salons because these are the source of spread of infections. And after registration, capacity building of these contingents, and then implementation of SOPs in these areas. This is the prime focus of primary secondary, so that the disease is not spread in this area. So we have currently around about 66,000 areas have been registered, and in our district it is around about 14 to 13,000 shops, the beauty salons and barber salons that has been registered with us. Then there is safe blood transfusion. This is also important because if blood is not properly screened, then there is an ample chance of spread of this disease. So this is being also implemented in the next. Then compulsory hepatitis B vaccination of newborn. This is also important initiative and is being carried out in all the health facilities of the Rawalpindi, including the basic health facilities, where birth dose hepatitis B is given. Then health-based management. This is also an important initiative by the government in view of the infection prevention control implementation strategy at the secondary level. In all our tertiary secondary hospitals, there is a proper mechanism of segregation of infectious waste and proper disposal. And it is subletted to a waste company that collects the waste from this secondary facilities and disposes it to the proper site. So at the moment it is being implemented in full. Then dialysis, surgeries and organ transplant. There is a screening is must in every operative procedure that is being carried out in the hospital. So this is also mandatory. The testing of higher risk group. This is also being implemented because in prisons and this type of things we are going on and we are going with our teams and screening is being carried out in these areas. Next. So this is how we are doing advocacy, communication and social mobilization. These are short messages, these being communicated at all levels, and this pamphlet is being also distributed at the sentinel site where our doctors, our paramedics are placed, so that for the awareness of the general public, so that they knew that how hepatitis is being spread and what are the precautions that needs to be taken for its prevention. Now a few glimpses of special initiative that was taken in Punjab, in Bahawalpur, Hepatitis B University of Punjab. This was Islamic University of Bahawalpur. Greater than 20,000 students in the faculty, members, employees and families registered and screened in this area. And linkage to care was provided for all those detected positive on PCR. And clinic established in the university campus for sustained mechanism. This was one initiative and a special initiative that was taken by the government of Punjab. Next. He is the program manager, Dr. Khalid, who is signing MOU with the Vice Chancellor of Islamic University of Bahawalpur, so that this university was screened on hepatitis and was declared clear in this area. Next. 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 So this is the motto of this World Hepatitis Day, that hepatitis can't wait. So, next. Number one, hepatitis. Newborn babies can't wait for their hepatitis B vaccination at birth. This is a message. People affected by hepatitis can't wait to be protected against stigmas and discrimination. Hepatitis B testing and treatment for pregnant women can't wait. We can prevent transmission from mothers to their babies. Next. People who are living with hepatitis can't wait for life-saving treatments. Decision makers can't wait and must act now to make hepatitis elimination a reality through political will and funding. Community organizations can't wait for greater investment. These all messages were given by Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Umar in his speech also. So we will stick to these messages and inshallah we carry forward this message and implement all the guidelines at all levels, not at the primary, secondary, but also the allied departments, the stakeholders that are working in the community, the health worker, so that we achieve our goal of eliminating hepatitis C by 2030. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your valuable time and knowledge with us. We truly appreciate it. Now, I would like to call CEO of Health, Dr. Faiza Kawal, on stage to say a few words. Please welcome Dr. Faiza Kawal.
आज हेपेटाइटिस डे के सिलसिले में हमने एक सेमिनार का यहाँ पे इनकाद किया। मकसद ये था कि हम हेपेटाइटिस के लिए सेंसिटाइज कर सकें। पाकिस्तान में हर 9 जो फर्द है वो हेपेटाइटिस का शिकार है। हमारे लिए पंजाब में कुछ एरियाज में हर चौथा आदमी हेपेटाइटिस का शिकार है। तो इसके ऐसे मेजर्स के ऊपर हमें फोकस करना चाहिए कि आप ये कम्युनिकेबल डिजीज़ हैं, ब्लड बॉर्न डिजीज़ हैं, आपकी जो एक दूसरे से अशिया आम जिंदगी के हम इस्तेमाल करते हैं उनकी शेयरिंग से ये फैलती है। तो हर उन मेजर्स के ऊपर हमें फोकस करना चाहिए ताकि हम मज़ीद इसको स्प्रेड होने से रोक सकें। और दूसरी इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ है कि वैक्सीनेशन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले करती है। तो जिस डिजीज़ के लिए वैक्सीनेशन अवेलेबल हैं उनके लिए वैक्सीनेट कराएं ताकि हम इससे महफूज रख सकें। थैंक यू।
Now I would like to welcome our additional Deputy Commissioner Headquarters, Rawalpindi, Muhammad Abdullah Mahmood. Sir, thank you so much for coming. I would like to invite you on the stage to please have some word with us. Please welcome Sir Muhammad Abdullah Mahmood.
First of all, thank you for the administration of the university, RGAP, and others who organized this awareness seminar primarily for hepatitis. I think technical details and other preventive measures that we will take in this matter must have been talked about. I would generally want to take use of this opportunity to say a few things to you. First of all, I would request that district administration is going through a testing times where there are a lot of epidemics that we are fighting at the same stage. I would like the university and its community medicine department to help us in fighting dengue as well. We are entering the peak season where the surveillance has to be increased manifolds. And I would request the university administration that if you have any students interested in working with the administration in surveillance, in epidemic control, public health, so you are more than welcome. We would really encourage that. Or secondly, I think the role of community and the medical students is very important in sensitizing, because I think the world is entering in a stage where the preventive side is getting more importance, and for that we can't move forward until we have aware of the community about the do's and don'ts regarding any disease, illness or any epidemic. Again, thank you all, and I would say good work my team, CEO Health, Madam Dr. Faiza, Dr. Isam Mini, who himself is an expert in epidemic control. So thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to thank all the speakers who took out their precious time to be here with us and to impart their expertise and knowledge to us. Thank you for helping us become more aware about the problems regarding hepatitis and the role we can play to eliminate these problems. I also want you all to know that the words you said, they had a great impact on all of us today, and they're truly going to benefit all of us. Since we are entering a new growth phase and we are struggling every single day to eliminate hepatitis and get important growth, your words were very important for us, and we can learn so much to eliminate the hepatitis. To conclude this ceremony, I would like all of you to go for a group photo. Thank you so much.
Everyone, please stand up on your seats for a group photo, and please keep social distancing. अपने अपने रिश्तों में खड़े हो जाएं प्लीज, और यहीं पर पिक्चर होगी आप लोगों की।
अलीहा